So let's try to install PHP Xdebug. So to install PHP Xdebug, what I'm going to do is first bring up the XAMPP control panel and then start both my Apache and MySQL. So both the web server and the database server are started, although we don't need the database server at this point. And then I'll go to the browser and I'll type in install Xdebug. So documentation plus installation. I go to the very first page and it says here, follow the following instructions to get Xdebug installed. So let's go here, and he says that what you need to do is copy and paste the content of the PHP info, right? And that's the reason I had started the XAMPP server first. So if I go to localhost, since our Apache is started, we are on to the basic page, and then the PHP info is over here. So we click on this, and what he's asking is that we should copy and paste this entire content. So I would rather just do a Control A to select everything all the way to the end, as you can see, and I'll copy it, Control C, and I'll paste it in here, and then analyze my PHP info output and suggest the version. So it says Xdebug installed is no, which is correct. We are trying to install Xdebug right now, and the instructions are download this DLL file, move the file to this. So I'm just going to download this first and show you. So you may get a warning message like this, and because it's a DLL file that you're trying to download, so don't worry, just click on keep and then click on show in folder. So once it's installed, once it's downloaded, we just go here and we copy it and move the downloaded file to c:/XAMPP PHP ext. So I'm going to go c:/XAMPP PHP, and ext stands for extensions, and paste this over here and edit the c::XAMPP PHP ini, right, and add the line this and restart the web server. Okay, so to update your PHP ini file, you first need to go to c:, and then I'm going to the XAMPP folder, and here I look for PHP, and I have to take care that I don't use any of these two files. I need not edit these to PHP ini production or development. What we are looking for is this file. It's PHP ini source file. So I open this with code, and this is it's a pretty big file actually, and somewhere in the middle of this file I can just go and add this line that I've been asked to add here, right? So that's there's an extension file, and you also need to add a few more lines, which I will copy and paste for you here. These lines, now these actually are coming from the PHP debug extension, and they are also mentioned in the PHP debug extension documentation, and I have picked them up from there. But you need to copy and paste these lines. Now if you want to dig deeper into this, you can actually go here and go to extensions, and you can see PHP debug, and there you go, you see this. Actually you only need these two lines, Xdebug, and so I think I'll just replace it with these two lines, right, Xdebug, and I think I can just place this here and then just keep one line gap between the two, and I've saved this file now. and after saving this I need to restart the web server. Okay, so now let's do the second step, which is installing the PHP debug extension for Xdebug. So this extension actually is what will help us in using the Xdebug that we have just installed to uh, within Visual Studio Code to debug our PHP scripts, right? So if I close this and I open code from here, it's like a, I open it fresh. I'll show you how I got there. I go to extensions, and here there are some recommended extensions that it's listed down for me, and one of these is PHP debug. And what it says is, now it seems to be a very popular extension. There's more than 4 million downloads for it, and it says debug support for PHP, which means it's supporting PHP script debugging of PHP scripts with Xdebug. So which means that once you have the Xdebug installed on your system, you will need this to um, basically call or make use of that within the VS Code interface. So let's install this one. And it's already installed, so now we should be able to make use of Xdebug installation. There's one more thing that we need to be sure of, and that is um, that when you go to settings, it'll open launch.json, right? And you can see that here there's listen for, this is actually the launch.json, which is it's picking up from the launch.json and showing us here. So for this debugging to work, you need to have this in the launch.json file. Now where is the launch.json file? The launch.json file is present in your under your application root folder, and in this VS Code folder, and this is launch.json, right? This is the file that has some configuration settings which are very important for the debugger to run, and we need to have these in place. We need to have this code in place for the debugger to run. If we take this out and if we save this file, there is no easy way to get this configuration back, and then we may be not be able to run the debugger. So just make sure that launch.json has this. Okay, so let's see what we have now. We have the debug DLL installed in the extension folder, right? We have the debug DLL installed in the extension folder. We also have a PHP ini file where we've indicated that this is the DLL file, this is the debug DLL file, and we've also given the two lines of code that we picked up from the PHP debug extension, right? And now let's see, we can go into our, let's open the folder for our application, which is basic application, which is the basic template of Yi, and I think it's already open here. And what we will do is we'll go to web and then index.php, and then we have these breakpoints. I've created these breakpoints here. I can actually remove these breakpoints and I can set them again. So I've set this again, and now if we go to localhost and launch our application, let's make sure that XAMPP control panel, the web server, and and the database server are running. And now if we go to localhost and basic and web, it's now opening the application, because we're still not in the debug mode. So we need to go here, and then we need to click on this so that we get to see this toolbar, And now if we refresh this page, we can see this Visual Studio code flickering, and the debugger has hit the breakpoint, and it's now, if you press F10, it will just keep going, and we have set up the debugger successfully.